There is not a lot of understanding of what's going on with flow diverters. We know mechanically what a flow diverter does, and that's basically diverting the flow away from the aneurysm lumen and in that way promoting coagulation. The biggest problem is that there are several processes that are started once you put a flow diverter. One is getting the endothelial overgrowth over one of the devices, which closes the aneurysm, but the endothelial overgrowth can have side effects as well. So it can cause intimal hyperplasia, stenosis, and so on. Furthermore, you need the coagulation to take place inside the aneurysm for it to heal. I think not at all. I think intimal overgrowth, so endothelial overgrowth, is something that is not that dependent on what kind of wires you have. Obviously, if you have more wires and more coverage, it's easier for endothelial cells to grow over the construct. But the process is just a biological phenomenon. What's happening in the aneurysm has nothing to do with whatever flow diverter you place, because in all the flow diverters you put in a patient, you can have the same phenomena. You can have the rupture, and you can have thromboembolic events. So it's not flow diverter dependent, it's technique dependent. There's a lot of things that can be improved with flow diverters. It's not only the efficacy, which has to be better. I mean, we are at a level of 80% occlusion rate, which is not ideal. So that's one thing that needs to be improved. But the other thing is predictability of placement of the flow diverters, retrieveability, avoiding thromboembolic complications, avoiding hemorrhages, trying to get rid of double antiplatelet therapy that's needed now to basically avoid the embolic processes going on. These are things that need to be dealt with in the future. I think that we should start with a database, prospective gathering, and what I said in my lecture is absolutely true. We have the stroke field now, and in the stroke field people are looking into imaging of clot, the composition of clot and that kind of stuff, irrespective of what device they use. With flow diverters it's still really focused on what device do I use and how are the results. We don't look at all the different flow diverters together and grouping all those patients, and that's something that we should do in a prospective database, looking at all flow diverter cases and then see what's happening in bifurcation aneurysm, what's happening in sidewall aneurysms, in posterior fossa aneurysms, because the problems are there, but we don't gather the data well enough to actually analyze them and see how we can modify the risk in the future.